We are not arguing regarding the importance and the seriousness of Bill C-9, but my God, let's get on with this. This is disgusting behavior.
The truth comes out. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we're finding out that Gary Anasandri's buyback program, the place it's being implemented first, Cape Breton, turns out the chief of police is brother-in-laws with one of Carney's Liberal MPs. Nothing like family helping each other out. We've also got a story of a man being debanked by RBC because he complained to customer service. Let's jump into this. Also got this, Australians making it easier for Indians to get student visas by reducing English requirements and financial evidence. Positive update for Indian students seeking high quality education in Australia. Indian student visa assessment level for Australia has moved from level 3 to level 2, easing documentation requirements for such upfront financial evidence and course specific English tests. They're on the same destructive path as the UK and Canada. America has done a big U-turn on this. Got this one here. CBC Edmonton says staffing shortages and breaking news prevented it from covering the arson that destroyed a nearly century-old Ukrainian Orthodox church in central Alberta. Of course it did. Of course. Next up, we got this one here. A Nova Scotia woman has been waiting almost 2 years to bring 23 family members fleeing Gaza. Yeah, the border's closed. The UK is open though. Got this one from the food professor. It says food inflation 2025 update. So what are we seeing here? An increase of 44% for beef top sirloin cuts at the top. Oranges up 40%. Sweet potatoes 37%, which really hits me hard. My diet is so restrictive and I need sweet potatoes. This sucks. Beef rib cuts 33%. Coffee 32%. We've got oranges again. We've got apples, canned soup, white rice. Just keeps going down here. Almond, squash. It's all going up. The Liberals keep spending too much money. It is basically stealing money out of our bank accounts through inflation. Got this one here. 51-year-old Kenneth Paulin of North Bay has been sentenced to 9 months in jail after sharing anti-Semitic content on social media. He is the first person in Canada to be jailed for denying the this word. I don't think I can say that word. Yeah, that's quite something. Didn't think I'd ever see that. This is dangerous precedent no matter how H-word his comments were. I agree. We shouldn't be jailing people because what they're saying on social media, unless they're openly saying they're about to commit some sort of horrific activity that wipes out a bunch of people or something like that. Free speech needs to be free speech, and we should defend someone's right to have free speech, even if it is awful, as long as it's not dangerous. You got to hear this zinger coming from the House of Commons here. Towards the end of the House session, just this bombshell gets dropped.
Mountain.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals' $742 million gun grab continues to be mired in controversy after the minister admitted on leaked audio that it will not work. In Cape Breton, residents are angered by the program being launched, and the local police union was left in the dark and not consulted. Now we find out that the Liberal minister is the brother-in-law of the police chief overseeing the program. Will the Liberals now admit that the only way they can get police forces to participate is to hire their family?
This is scathing. This is a direct conflict of interest. So who's she talking about? She's talking about this guy here, Mike Calloway. So he's an MP, Liberal MP. You can see for Sydney Glace Bay. Mike Calloway, his wife is Catherine Walsh Calloway. Her brother is Robert J. Walsh. And who's Robert J. Walsh? Well, he's the Cape Breton Regional Police Chief. As we see here, Police of Chief Robert J. Walsh, 33 years of extensive policing experience. It's family helping out family here. Gary Anasandri found someone within the Liberal government who is connected to a police force, and that's how they're rolling this out. And just to confirm this, you can see I've got this one here, this obituary. So we've got Alice T. Walsh. Her life ended last year, and it says right here, she's survived by her children, Ron, Sheila, John, Catherine, and Robert. And you can see Catherine here in brackets. She's married to Michael Calloway, and Robert is married to Kimberly Ryan. Catherine and Robert. So family helping family here.
Let me just remind the party opposite that the Mass Casualty Commission in Nova Scotia recommended that governments take decisive action to take assault-style firearms off our streets, Mr. Speaker. It is a critical part of the work in ensuring the safety and security of our communities. I want to thank the people of Cape Breton for the pilot program.
This is a weak answer. And this pilot program, nobody's adhering to it. Nobody is giving up their pew-pews. They thought it would work out there. It's not.
Program, Mr. Speaker. I know the police chief as well as men and women in uniform are very much engaged in this process. The pilot is working, Mr. Speaker. I look forward to reporting back to the House on its progress, and I also look forward to the expansion of the program nationwide.
No, it's a lie. That's a direct lie. People aren't complying with this program. As far as I've heard, there's been 0 pew-pews collected. Moving ahead here, we got this from conservative Frank Caputo. He says, unbelievable, 600 foreign nationals convicted of crimes were set for deportation, but they're lost. That's right, the Liberals lost these people.
Minister, 600 foreign nationals were set to be deported. 70% of them committed violent crimes, including sex assaults. Where are they?
Thank you, Mr. Caputo. Thank you for that question. As you're aware, the Canada Border Services Agency is tasked with removals of those who are deemed to be
Minister, I'm sorry, we don't need a preamble. We just need an answer. Where are the 600 people who were set to be deported? Maybe I'll ask this way. Do you know where they are? Yes or no?
Mr. Chair, if I may respond to this question in whole. So, as you're aware, the CBSA is tasked with the removal of those who are inadmissible to Canada. In this particular case, we have been ensuring that removals have been taking place at an unprecedented rate.
I asked about the 600 people, Minister. I didn't ask about removals at an unprecedented rate. Do you know where they are? Yes or no?
Well, there is a set of...
I'll take that as a no, Minister. Let's move on.
Let's be clear, Mr. Caputo.
Yeah, let's be clear.
There are a number of individuals who are in the process of being removed. So of the 600 you talk about, there is a breakdown, and I'd like to invite...
This is a load of crap. This guy is guilty of incompetence. Nothing is happening. They're letting these people run around and end Canadians, break into little girls' bedrooms and violate people. That's what's happening here. These Liberals don't care that these 600 criminals are just wreaking havoc across our country because it hasn't happened to them. They haven't broken into their houses, so it's not a problem. They're trying to destabilize our country because then they can bring in a digital ID and all this stuff to have more control, a police state controlling us. Surveillance, all that stuff. You're starting to see it in the UK. Obviously in China, they have it out the wazoo. They want full control over us like in China.
You are the minister. You are the expert. The Globe and Mail reported 600 people are missing. You're the minister. You're expected to know this. The buck stops with you. We have 6 minutes. You don't know. Let's move on.
Whoa. Well done, Frank. I like this guy. He just calls it straight. This loser should be sacked, fired, forced to resign. He's directly endangering the lives of Canadian citizens. Yes, he is. Gary's got to go. Gary is just useless. Somewhere on social assistance, that's probably where they are. They're getting free handouts. That's where those 600 people are. Keep fighting, Frank. We need to clean our streets and protect our communities and avoid becoming the current UK. Yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned, we don't want to become the UK. They're 3 or 4 years ahead of us. We cannot be catching up to them. We need to detach. That's exactly what America has done. They voted in Trump and now they're getting the opposite. They're sending ICE around. They're rounding up goons, goblins, and gangsters all over the streets and sending their butts out of the country. That's what we should be doing. Sending these people packing and hunt them down, find them, and kick their butts out. Moving ahead, we've got an Ontario man getting debanked by RBC because he filed a customer service complaint.
The majority of Canadians, almost 90%, deal with Canada's big 5 banks for loans, credit cards, and investments.
Customers can switch banks at any time, but banks can also close your accounts and tell you you're no longer wanted as a client. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. It doesn't happen very often, but a bank can unbank you and tell you to take your business somewhere else. They don't have to give a reason, although it's often because they're concerned about fraud, high-risk behavior, or they decide you're difficult to deal with.
There's no, reason for this. I don't do, I'm not part of any criminal network or doing any sort of fraud. I'm just an average guy trying to get through the day-to-day in this Canadian world.
Thomas Nassab of Alliston has been an RBC bank customer for about 30 years. He has lines of credit, credit cards, and investments with RBC and oversees his parents' accounts with the bank as well. Recently, he was trying to move money in his investments when he says he encountered difficulties getting in-person service, so he complained.
I made complaints to a couple branch managers as well as a regional community manager. And within 7 days of those complaints, I was told that all of my accounts are being closed.
Nassab received a letter from RBC that said, "We are no longer in a position to continue our banking relationship with you."
This is so ridiculous on so many levels. He makes a complaint and they debank him. They should be fined for this. That's not a good reason.
Nassab says he was only given 30 days to close his accounts and move his money out of the bank.
and to be just removed completely with zero explanation, it's very disappointing.
Nassab reached out to CTV News and appealed to RBC, hoping to have the decision overturned.
Love for this to be reversed. I would love for, some sort of clarity of the reasons why.
When CTV News reached out to RBC, a spokesperson said a client or the bank may choose to end a banking relationship. RBC makes such a decision only after a thorough review of the circumstances. Decisions regarding client relationships are never made lightly. Banks may also close accounts if they suspect money laundering, fraud, policy violations, or abusive or disrespectful behavior. Nassab believes his accounts shouldn't be closed because he complained about customer service.
Customer service is getting so poor that even if you make reasonable, tempered complaints, they're ready to just make that move anyway to get rid of you.
And if a bank ends a relationship with you, they don't have to tell you why. They do have to give you enough time to move your money and investments. You can also file a complaint with the Ombudsman for banking services and investments. On your side.
We know that complaint with the Ombudsman, though, is not going to go anywhere. Wish it did. Wish it had some sort of power or weight. It doesn't. RBC, disgraceful. Disgraceful company. Someone is not saying something. Having worked in the banking system for 45 years, I can tell you there's more to the story than meets the eye, guaranteed. So they don't tell you why they're debanking you, but they want to know why you're taking your money out. I've been an RBC customer for 50 years. I've watched their service get worse and worse. It's a pain, but time to change banks. I'm in the process of changing banks too. I'm getting rid of my RBC because RBC sucks. That and they allowed someone to wire transfer my money to Milan without my signature. If you're RBC customer, it's an obvious time to relocate your funds. Yes. You got to check out this committee clip here. So Larry Brock absolutely snaps on these Liberals. They're filibustering. They're trying to delay. Bill C9 is Carney's new justice bill. Larry Brock wants to study this with 10 different sessions. The Liberals keep filibustering this, delaying this, pushing this back. They don't want to talk about it. And Larry just snaps on them.
Because we've said this time and time again by myself and my colleague Maloney, if we do agree to the 10 sessions that are being proposed by Mr. Brock, this piece of legislation will not be disposed of in a timely manner in this committee. We're looking at least February, if not March of 2026. We would not be efficient and respond to...
So the Liberals are just trying to jam this thing through. They don't want to have anyone take a look at their bill and study it.
Ms. Latanzio is the parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Justice. I've listened to the last 5 or 6 minutes of her simply reading out Bill C9, which is public. We all have the ability to read it. We don't need instructions from a parliamentary secretary to read out the important provisions of Bill C9. This is nothing more than a classic Liberal filibuster, which is extremely disrespectful to my witness who traveled here from Brantford, some 6 hours away, to give relevant, cogent evidence about the impact of sentencing and bail issues in our country. And to listen to Ms. Latanzio and listen to Mr. Maloney and listen to Mr. Chang repeat the same argument over and over and over again with every single attempt that we raise to call a vote is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And there is a protocol, I believe, Mr. Chair, on a filibuster that there is a prohibition on simply reading out for the sake of reading out. We all have access to Bill C9. We agreed as a Conservative caucus, we agreed to allow debate to collapse after 2 days, approximately 6 hours worth of debate, to bring it to committee. We are not arguing regarding the importance and the seriousness of Bill C9, but my God, let's get on with this. This is disgusting behavior.
Mr. Brock, and again, I've ruled on the relevance, and Ms. Latanzio can continue.
Look at this. Every one of Trudeau's old ministers now became chairs of these different committees. Larry Brock just ripping them straight here. This is all they do. The Liberals are so corrupt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that to answer my colleague Brock, I think what is despicable is that We have witnesses that were ready to render their testimony today. We made a decision at the beginning. You actually made the decision, Mr. Chair, to be able to postpone this to the end of the meeting. And what we've done is we've interjected this in between before this witness, that is Mr. Brock's witness, to be able to reintroduce this motion.
This is always the same thing. They don't want witnesses to testify because these crooks are going to get caught. They don't want new evidence to come to light. They do it every single time. Adjourn the meetings, shut it down, don't let people speak. This is the same Liberal garbage every single year. Next up in Parliament, we've got a Liberal being put in their place. This is in the proceedings before question period, talking about Bill C-11, the Military Justice Modernization Act.
I think it's really important to recognize that the report that we're talking about, there's 48 recommendations, Mr. Speaker. The government is on track to get 47 of those 48 passed by the end of the year. The wild card, I would suggest to you, is actually Bill C-11. All political entities in the House seem to support the essence of that legislation. Much of that legislation, for example, the transfer over to the civil justice system, is already being incorporated in an informal way through the Canadian Armed Forces. We're all waiting to see this legislation get to the committee stage. Would the member not agree, out of respect for the Canadian forces and the women and men that serve this country so well, would he not agree that we should try to get this thing passed before the end of the year?
So the Liberals want to try to just ram this through. The Conservatives keep saying, no, we need to fix this bill before it gets put through.
The member has about 15 seconds, and then we have to go to question period.
I would certainly like to have seen the last 10 years be more productive, but unfortunately they're not. I don't think we should be passing flawed bills at all, especially when there are gaping holes that can easily be fixed. So please, I served for 10 years. I don't need lessons on how to respect the Canadian forces. Thank you.
Statements by members.
They kind of walked into that one. It's just another case here of the Liberals not knowing who they're going up against. Kevin Lamoureux didn't know that he had a military background. He's trying to talk about respecting the armed forces when you've got a military vet standing right on the other side who was giving the initial question. This just sums up the Liberals. They're so unprepared for everything, whether it's in the House of Commons, whether it's press conferences or everything else. They're just a bunch of clowns running around.